Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal.
I'm Marc.
I'm Zoe.
We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom. We share inspiration, we share struggles, we brainstorm solutions. We would love to have you join us.
Welcome back to Chaotic Harmony. We're here with Hans Chamberlain once again.
Hello.
He just couldn't stay away.
That's right. If you missed his episode, please check it out.
Give me magnet toys to play with, and I'm here for...
That's right. And so we just wanted to chat some more about planning. Mm-hmm. And it's something that every teacher does.
And this was a requested topic, I'll say. Yeah, this comes from one of our listeners.
Nice.
She contacted us on social media to say that she is feeling lost with trying to plan for 7 different grade levels as a music teacher. It's she's someone who became a music teacher after years of being in the general education classroom, and it's one of her biggest challenges still. Where do you even begin? So yeah. Yeah, and it's something that all of us have had to kind of grapple with and advocate for in different ways at our different school sites.
It's so true.
Yeah,
and
it's an important topic.
Today we started our the first day of second quarter in 2019, and once again I had conversations with my admin about scheduling, and for me it's something that comes up every week. The big talk is usually at the beginning of the quarter or the beginning of the school year or the end of the school year, but at our school, it's a living document. It's
your schedule.
Our schedule.
Like it's
subject
to
the schedule. Yes, and that's where my planning begins.
Okay,
is the schedule, and
a living document, as in it can change at any moment.
It's always changing because our schools are always, we have assemblies, we have special events, like maybe. And they're good things that we want to happen, like staff versus student softball game, and you want those things to happen. So we all have to be flexible. Yeah. But when, it all comes down to who's gonna look at those time slots and make sure that gets communicated. Yeah. And it's not easy. So it takes a really talented person to do that, and I feel like we have someone here with us tonight. Hans is here with us, and he has some experience with scheduling. So I kind of want to start our planning talk with scheduling.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hans, can you tell us a little bit about maybe how you create your schedule, and then let's just start there.
Yeah. Well, I think at my side, it's also kind of a dream in the sense that it's a small school and I'm the only teacher there. So
how many kids do you teach?
So I teach like just under 400 kids at one site though. So I get to see every kid twice a week, you know, which is really a dream. It's really awesome. But as far as the schedule, it's there's a collaboration schedule and that's 2 days a week. And where me and another content area we're teaching the kids while that grade level can collaborate. And I think we all experience part of that schedule. Is that correct?
In Chula Vista, that's what we do. Yes. But in other states, I've heard that like 2 times a week is the norm. Yeah. That's not a dream. Right. Maybe that's a very normal dream for them.
Right. I had that for 1 year, and it was delightful. I wasn't tied to the general education collaboration schedule that year, though. Okay. So that was a luxury for me. Right. I am now. But our teachers get to collaborate now for 1 day a week and per grade level, which is great.
That's how our site is as well. Okay. But the kind of the way it works is I don't have much control over that collaboration schedule. Okay. But the other 3 days I do. Okay. So I was tasked with basically making sure that every class gets another class session that's equitable. So I volunteered to do that, but then, de facto, I was also then the one who was, because it's all on one sheet of paper, I'm the one who's updating and keeping that collaboration schedule as well. Collaboration schedule, when it comes down to it, is not ideal I think for learning, at least in my classroom, it's like it is centered around teacher collaboration.
Right.
And I see that also as a win. It's like any way that our position is helping the school, abroad, I think, I think that's good. I think it's good for us.
Well, that was kind of the sell for VAPA in the district was, right. Well, if you hire VAPA teachers, then you'll have a teacher release and then you can implement collaboration district-wide.
Everybody wins,
right. Yeah.
But the problem, like at my site, is when we have 2 teachers and if there's, 3 classes.
Right.
So then we're splitting classes and we have a class and a half plus SDC. And then the class sizes get big to a point where it's not conducive to learning,
right?
But it is offering a service to teachers. So I just chalk it up to that and say, okay, Tuesday is my hard day, but you find a way to make it work. Maybe I'll do something a little, a little less, a little less structured, on those days, make it a lot more movement, a lot more game type of lessons. And then when I have just that isolated class, that's when I'm like, okay, let's really, get down to it and get some stuff done.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It's all valuable. I think kids benefit across the board, but you do have to kind of, pick your battles and choose really what you're going to be doing for each day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that ties into something that we've talked about, which is like school culture. You really have to be part of that school culture and understand where the teachers are coming from, your admin is coming from, and be a team player.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
And I'm sure, so we're in a district that has 47. Is that right? Maroka?
That sounds right.
If you're out there,
46 or 47.
If you're out there, Maroka listeners, maybe give us a hashtag 47. But anyway, I think we have 47 schools in our district, and they're all elementary schools. So as a result,
big district.
It's a huge district. I think we're the biggest elementary district in the state of
California. Yeah. That was what I was told last year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's still true this year, but yeah.
Yeah. So, that in itself is like a very daunting number, 47 schools. So as a result, we have kind of like site-based decision making.
We do, yeah. Out of necessity.
Right. And I think it's also, it has to do with what grant has been applied to where and who has a grant and who doesn't, and whether it's band or orchestra VAPA, or general music. Yeah.
Yeah.
So... yeah, and then some schools, will have other content, other disciplines, might have, art and theater, and not have a music teacher. So, yeah, every site's really different.
It is. My art teacher is a scheduling ninja. I mean, she is just, I've never met anybody as amazing.
Can she do a backflip?
She probably could. She's really incredible though. And she has been a art teacher in our district for a long time, I think 12 years. But she's always taught at multiple school sites until last year. She got to be with me full time at Finney. And she started getting really good at scheduling because it was a way for her to have influence over her schedule, to have some sanity when she was balancing multiple schools. So she just kind of decided, I'm going to have to get really good at this skill because it is a skill.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I have had, in my career, I've had schedules, thrust upon me that have not been good, Right. And I think, when you kind of take the reins and offer to help and then and if you can work quickly and efficiently and bring something back that works and is equitable, they say, oh, okay, well, great. Then, and then they start
that worked out.
Right. And it's good for them. And then you can do like a hard pass on things that really won't work.
Right.
But you still have to flex. There's going to be stuff that you're not a big fan of. So
you do. Yeah. I tried to create my ideal schedule one year and had quite a few revisions made to it by the time it was done. It is hard. It's hard to be that self-advocate.
Well, that afternoon nap, Crystal, was just not the siesta.
Well, 5 minutes transition time between classes. Right. I thought that was reasonable, but there was some pushback on that.
I rock the 5-minute transition times.
Good for you. Good for you, friend. It is really hard to see second grade and sixth grade back to back, and it's like you want to be able to reset the room and put things that are inappropriate for younger hands out of the way.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's, you can say it's a, 30-minute, 40-minute, 45-minute class, but if they're butted up right next to each other, there's different setup you have to do for each, for each grade level, for each class.
Right.
And that's what people don't quite understand. Like that, it eats into instructional time.
It does.
Like the walking over takes away from the teacher's time, and it takes away from your time. So
it does.
Let's not make that part of the schedule.
And then there's the teachers that want to drop off early and pick up late.
Right.
And that's tricky too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So having that influence over the schedule, and I think just learning how to. I think embedding into your school culture is a very important point, and making sure that it's communicated that you are on the same team as the teachers.
Right.
You understand that they're under enormous stress and pressure
Mm-hmm.
to do their jobs, but also advocating for your own needs. Yeah, even if it means being like, a just friendly reminder, your class stops at 8:40 and Mrs. Pickles' class starts at 8:41 and if you could be ready to get them, that'd be so helpful for me.
And just like looping back to one of like the first topics that we talked about on this podcast is like advocacy. I feel like your planning time and your scheduling, kind of you're advocating for yourself when you're setting those expectations with your schedule and your planning time. So I talked to Andrea, one of our colleagues, about this, and she had some amazing tidbits because, like, kind of like Hans and Sandra, like she had experience in the district, and I don't know. You have to take into account the classroom teacher's perspective.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Something that she suggested to me was get teacher input. If you're going to do a pullout, understand that is a sacrifice for the classroom teacher, and you have to take the extra measures to check in with them, and like continually check in with them, ask for their opinion at the beginning of the quarter, and understand that if they're sending a student that is falling behind in their classwork, they might not be able to attend your orchestra class. And that's not a personal thing. They're not trying to like make things more difficult for you. They're trying to do their job the best that they can.
Right.
Yeah. So understanding that piece of your school culture is like really important to like maintaining relationships at your site.
Right.
And then just being like, Hans, you've talked about this, like being part of the solution, not being a problem.
Well, I think you need to establish yourself as someone who, I mean, we talk about educating the whole child. Like, these kids need to learn how to read.
They do.
They do.
That's important.
Yes.
And that's important to me as a music teacher.
Absolutely.
So I think when teachers know that you're not just like in music la la land, and if we just teach kids music, they're going to learn everything. Like no, they need to be taught everything.
Right.
And I think music's a huge part of that. And I think learning how to play an instrument or learning how to be a part of a class, like that teaches you how to be a learner. I think it's super valuable.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a replacement for teaching somebody how to read. It just helps in general, helps you become a better learner. So I think when teachers know that you're on board with that, and not maybe what they perceive what you could be, I think you just need to present yourself in that way.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I want to take a quick break and thank my husband, Bryan, who's been working behind the scenes producing these episodes every week on all of the platforms and on time. But you need to know that he is first a financial planner for Mission Trails Financial. Mission Trails Financial is a partner that seeks to guide clients in the journey to financial success. They believe that people need a financial advisor that aims to provide strategies for success. Mission Trails Financial helps people navigate investments, tax planning, and insurance. Imagine working with an advisor who isn't tied to specific brands. Mission Trails Financial has a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of their clients by providing independent, objective advice. Their mission is to help clients accomplish their financial goals. As Joe Vitale once said, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. Do yourself a favor and set up a time to chat with Mission Trails Financial. Visit www.missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 to schedule a call. If you're in the area, they'd love to have you come by the office. You'll be glad you did. We believe that leaning on professionals is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more information.
Full disclosure, I meant to do this at the beginning of the episode and I forgot. but this is our planning episode. And I have not planned my lessons for tomorrow.
Oh, it's confession time.
I am so disappointed because I thought I was the only one. And I really, no.
Oh my goodness. We just had our fall break. And, everything, there were just a lot of things that I did not expect to happen. And I'm trying to work on the self-care. We talked about it in an episode, but I tried to value those other aspects of my life, and planning was after those other parts of my life. So
you made a choice.
I did make that choice. Yeah. And so now we're brushing up that, going back
here
to
we
school.
are. Right.
Yeah.
So let's get into like planning. What do we prioritize? What are the things that we think kids need? And on a when we have to make those tough choices on,
right,
because there's so much out there for what we can include in a 30 or 45-minute lesson.
Yeah, well, and we don't have very much planning time just structured into our school days. We're guaranteed a half an hour a day of planning time in our contracts, and what that is 15 minutes before school starts and 15 minutes after it ends. So it's enough time to come in and get ready for the day and clean up after the day is done. It's not really planning time. And then I was also graciously given another half an hour on Thursday morning. So that is my in-school planning time.
Yep.
It's not much, and I'm glad for what it is, but when I have 40 string instruments to tune and, I have 400 kids rolling through my room and I have instruments to clean, I'm barely hanging on.
Right.
Keeping the room functional. Let alone planning for 7 different grade levels. So I have, just for survival's sake, learned that I need to have a similar rhythm to my classes. It helps me know how to plan. Yeah, the kids know what to expect. My administration expects me to have objectives and success criteria posted. And so what I did at the beginning of this year is I came up with my scope and sequence. We talked a little bit about that before we started recording. And I took an entire notepad and I went through and I wrote objectives for each of the standards I wanted to hit and then success criteria for each one. So that's done. And they're specific enough that there are certain things the kids know they should be able to do and articulate, but they're broad enough that I can pull them up again, because really the standards spiral. Right. We hit them and then we come back. We just take them deeper.
National standards you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or California?
The California standards are pulled from the national standards.
Right.
So yeah,
they're similar.
We follow National Core Art Standards. California is redoing their framework right now. And I'm excited to put some of my own input in with that. CMEA just opened it up for comment. That's how we do it. So the kids know that they can come in and expect a movement activity, and then they can expect a game, and we do some singing, and then we move into the meat of the lesson in the middle. It usually involves instruments, and then we'll end with something really fun.
Nice.
Before they go, and that's also cleanup time. So, yeah.
I love that you say fun. It should be fun.
It should be. I like to end with something like Baba La Goombala, you remember that one? Baba La Goombala, a Goombala avise. You don't remember that one?
Or level 3.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't level 3. That was a chapter meeting. That was a chapter meeting.
No, I forgot
Marilyn
it.
Shepard taught that to us.
Oh, thanks, Marilyn.
Yeah, she's the best. Or some sort of, they love chants. So we do a lot of call and response, a lot of chants. But I like to send them out singing. And it's even better when it bleeds into the hallways and somebody important walks by.
That's cool. Wow.
They're like, oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of follow the same type of model in that when they come in, they come to the carpet and we're doing call and response clapping or singing or, our Arioso type stuff from First Steps. But I even do it, across grade levels. We'll, sometimes I'll have a student lead that. It's just, they walk in, they know, I kind of, it's a way for me to non-verbally get their attention and to keep them watching me, it's like that Jedi mind trick, and then after that, I'm trying to incorporate more Firob. I'm trying to incorporate more conversational solfege, but only for like 10 to 15 minutes of the class. So I have them, and then we work on that, and that's structured. That's like, okay, you know, kids, I don't care about the song Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle is not my favorite song. But we're gonna sing it because I really want you to be able to decode these ta and ta-dee rhythms. Like, and when I go listen to music, I don't listen to Yankee Doodle, but you know, I really want you to be able to get this rhythm.
Right.
And then they say, okay, so that's why we're doing this. And then it's only for about 10 minutes. And then, you know, and I try to follow those 12 steps. So that kids know what decoding is. They know, like, the whole point is to get us to the point where we can actually create with these rhythms.
Right.
And, you know, and later in the unit, that's when they're actually, a big portion of the lesson is that writing and that performance, you know.
Right.
But just during a regular class, that's only like 10 minutes of my class.
Right.
So basically, half the class is the introduction, that, you know, Fire Robin conversational solfege, and then we try to get Orphe and do some sort of movement activity, and I'm following that the creative dance book, and I take one chapter per month, and then across, just for my own sanity, like, I make one movement activity, same focus, one movement activity for the week, for every single grade level.
There you go.
Because it's beneficial for everybody, right?
It applies. Yeah.
And then and in that book, there's just so many activities, and all I have to do is pick 4 for the month. Like, I just pick the ones that I think are the best, and the ones I feel most, you know, confident in leading, and then, you know, move on to the next one.
My goodness.
I do that a lot too. I think you have to simplify, and carrying the same activity to different grade levels, but just tailored to their needs. First of all, it's kind of cool when you end up in those situations at assemblies where you have the entire school gathered, and they all know the same song or activity.
That is
and
cool.
then you look like magic to your administration, because you can get everybody's attention at the same time. Right, and they're like, "Oh, I love this game." But yeah, it just saves your sanity when you're planning for 7th grade levels.
I know. Side note, I remember that I did that. I remember Lamb's Players their touring company came to Discovery when I worked there, you know, years and years ago, and they had an attention getter. It was, hey, ho, shh.
Yeah.
You know, and so when I first started teaching at Castle Park, I used that, like, you know, for everybody. And so at one point they needed everybody quiet in the auditorium. So I just go, hey, ho, shh.
Yep.
And everybody was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
Who is this witch?
Seriously. Oh, my favorite time was when I had my tingshaw over my shoulder, and I just went up to the front of the school and I went, ding, and it was silent. I'm like, I love you guys. Thank you for doing that.
That is cool.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
Wow. So I would actually welcome, like, a master's student or an undergrad student or anyone that's in the thick of, like, music education pedagogy to correct me on this, but I feel like, Hans, what you're talking about with first steps and how you kind of meld those together in your planning, I feel like those steps 10 through 11 in first steps and Orff are so similar. You know, the Crystal, I remember, like, after level 1 or maybe during, you saying that Carl Orff, he was like a mastermind at creating all these composers out of children.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the end game of First Steps also, is like students taking ownership of the music that is inherent in them. You know, we give them...
Honoring the creativity that already exists.
Yeah, like, we give them the tradition, we introduce what's already been created, and then we give them the opportunity to create.
Yeah, I look at it as empowerment. Like, I feel like
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Orff is really great at. This is going to sound negative. It's not negative. It's like tricking kids into learning. It's like kids are having a blast.
They're playing.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like a language, you know. You've got to feel a triplet before you can understand it. If you try to explain it first, it will not work, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So Orff, that side of it is awesome.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's such a benefit and such a feeling of empowerment for kids when you say, okay, we are trying to learn this specific thing.
Right.
And I think you guys can do it.
Right.
Right? Like, remember how we felt this earlier? Like, that song, that song is a great, here's another song we've done. That song's a great example of this. Like, do you guys think that you could apply that towards something else? Like, and that's when a kid is walking away and saying, hey, what did you learn in music class? And you say, I can actually articulate what I'm learning.
Right.
Because that's what people want to see. And I really think that's what's good. That's that self-efficacy, that metacognition in kids. Like, they have to know what they're learning. But if you just do that... Good
use of academic language.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But
Thank you, Hans.
If you just do that the whole class, like, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Because it's boring to do that for 40 minutes.
There's an appropriate time to bring it in, and I guess that's where some of my I don't want to say frustration, that's not the right word, but I don't know, discomfort with how things have been handed down to me as I've tried to fit in with the rest of the school and the way we're doing things. It's there's and I get, like, we want kids to know what they're doing,
right?
But there's also that joy in the discovery.
Right.
And it's like they need to just be allowed to play for a little bit and not worry about what they're doing. Like, we should be having fun first.
100%. We need both.
Yeah, we need both.
And
then you can say, you don't even know it, but this is what you did. Isn't that amazing?
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, and then they'll remember it that much more because you revealed it at the proper time.
Right.
Then, like, oh, look at this objective that you just achieved. Here's your success criteria. You did it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and for kids to have both, like, because I feel like people are either in one camp or the other.
Right.
And they're both
hand in hand.
They're both right.
Right. One of my favorite Karl Orff quotes is, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, since the beginning of time, children have not liked to study. They would much rather play. And if we have their best interests in mind, we'll let them play. And then they will discover that what they have mastered is child's play. And that's just, I think play first.
Yep.
Then give them the language when it's time.
Yeah, but I also think, just as a side note, I feel like that language helps give you a what's the word? It helps give you a purpose for the things we learn. I feel like for some kids, we'd be like, why are we learning this song?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And if you can say, this is why we're learning that song.
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh, it's not about the song.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's songs that are just awesome and you're getting kids to be musical. And I think you need to have that in every class. And there's other songs where you're trying to teach concepts. And I think you need to have that in every class. I think you need to try to find them both. And then it's good for kids too. It's a change of state. You're having them do a lot of different things in one class period. It's hard to get bored when you're changing activities, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. And it's not perfect, but I think planning wise, like, even if you spend 5 to 10 minutes on an activity, as long as you have a reason for it, you know, and if it's not quite working out, it's like, that's okay. Table it.
Yeah.
Move into something fun. Keep it fun. Keep it light. And little by little, you know, you can really start to expand their minds.
There's a place for anchor charts, and there's a place for, you know, success criteria, and there's a place for very careful, meticulous planning. There's also a place for, like you were saying earlier, Zoe, reading the room and understanding when it's time to move in a different direction.
Yeah, that flexibility. You got to be able to flip it right then.
That's a good teacher.
Totally.
Yeah.
What was that? Who was it? Was it Cindy in level 3, or somebody was talking about how, oh man, now I shouldn't bring this up if I can't even remember a name, but somebody was saying that there's a teacher that reached a level to the point where it was like no planning. You show up and like, what do you guys want to make music about today? I mean, you know, and it'd be cool to have some of that, to be able to get to the level where you feel so confident that, like, we're going to accomplish some great things.
No idea what it's going to be.
What do you guys want to do? You know?
I know.
Oh man, it'd be awesome to be able to get to that point. But
so something that I've thought about in this school year, maybe because I've said yes to a lot of things, and so my time has, like, shrunk for planning. But you're always the best teacher. That's something that has been in my mind, is like, at the moment
Is this a Zoe mantra?
Kind of.
Yeah. No,
I haven't written it.
She has great ones.
I haven't written it down yet. Maybe I will.
She has a notebook full of them.
I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. Like, my principal has been saying, like, we're the best school in the world. And he says that on the intercom. He says that in our announcements and out to parents and everything. But
what if we walked around like that?
Yeah, you really are the embodiment of the best that you can be. Even if in your mind you think you can be better, if you are like for where you're at today, you this is who you are. And I think that
we set our own bar.
That kind of acceptance, you know, you can't change the decisions that you made yesterday. Right. I mean, you kind of have control over what you do tomorrow, kind of. But just having that belief in yourself that you're going to do the best that you can do with what you have.
Yeah.
Right? With your circumstance.
I think I try to look at teaching like, you know, like practice. We're all musicians. And practice can either really suck or be a really awesome thing. Yeah. And it has to do with your mindset, right? It's like,
that's true.
Okay, it's either, you know, growth mindset, man, this does not sound good right now. And almost laugh at yourself in a positive, like, okay, all right. Gotta let it go. What do I need to change?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what every day has to be with teaching, because teaching's a hard job, and you could really let it get you down. You really could.
Yeah.
And personally for me, this is just personal. Like I can't let one positive story like pull me out of that. It's not about a story. It's about like teaching a service, right?
Yeah.
And I need to be the best servant I can in my position. Whether I haven't had a great, you know, success story in a week, that I'm not going to hold on to the success story. I'm going to hold on to the fact that no, I'm here to do the best job that I can. And if yesterday was hard, it's over.
Yeah, it is.
What am I gonna learn from it today?
Yeah.
And how do I move forward? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. You know what? But I would love to kind of move that also into some things we've learned about giving yourself that grace and moving on when appropriate, but also maybe saving yourself time in the future by reflecting on what you've done. So
I love that.
So
can we do another Joshua Block Spiccato?
We could.
Do we have an item? Or can we do it Joshua Block style where we stretch while we're sharing?
We could do that.
Let's do that. Do you remember how Joshua used to be like,
share
stretch one thing from the reading, and also do while you're exemplifying a stretch? Because I feel like we all have something that we've learned about planning.
Yeah.
Just from doing it year after year.
That can save some time.
Yeah, like one thing that you can.
Well, and I have two things from other people as well.
Great. Give us two stretches. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, what can we do sitting down? We did a lot. How about a twist?
Okay.
About the Pilates mermaid twist. Okay, so this is from Marc. He's not here tonight, but a tip that Marc gave me that I have used so much. He printed off a whole bunch of blank lesson plan templates from Victoria Buller's website. We make themusic.org, I believe.
Yep.
And keeps them on his desk, and at the end of a lesson, if it went really well, he writes it down in detail, and then ta-da, he has a binder full of lessons by the end of the year that went really well. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And then now that he's done it for a year, if his principal walks in and he's reusing something, he can be like, look, and all the standards are there and it's written out, and it doesn't feel as scary.
Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel.
Don't reinvent the wheel every year. And then Rob Ampton kind of had something similar that he shared with us. He said, he never taught a class at the beginning of his career that was like under 70 students. Or he said something ridiculous like that. But he would just write. He had a journal and he would write out in detail the lesson. So same idea, a little less structured than how Marc's doing it. And he had his notebooks, so he could just refer to them. But I think that both of them have that self-reflection piece, and I found that to be important too. So I do mine on my computer. I made myself a template. I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes all I have time for when I have my no transition time between my classes, because I did not get my 5 minutes, is just to write a couple words about what we did. But I try to remember at the end of the week, at least the two that went really, really well. What did I do that I'd planned? What did I do that I did not plan, but maybe had a stroke of brilliance in the middle of class?
That's cool.
And write it down. So there you go.
Yeah, I've been trying to every month give myself.
To stretch.
Oh,
it's your idea, Zoe.
I know.
We'll do this one, the classic.
Okay, I like it.
This is the
Stretch
cross lateral or whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, we're not PE teachers. If you're watching on YouTube, you get to see.
Respect, though, if you're a PE teacher.
Yeah.
Like Hans was at one point.
Absolutely. Mad respect. Not dissing PE teachers.
I learned a lot about classroom management. I'll tell you.
I'll bet. That's a lot of energy.
I loved it.
So about once a month, I try and create a lesson bank for each grade. Mm-hmm. So I try and come up with like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, depending on how inspired I am, mm-hmm. Like songs or activities that we can do. And sure, we'll do a shoulder roll, Crystal.
Sorry.
No, I like that.
Something popped in the wrong spot.
And so that I might not know the order of each lesson, mm-hmm. but I can at least draw from my bank. And I try and hyperlink those. Like I have it in a Google document so I can go back in and be like watching the Rob Amption video for mm-hmm. something that like former me was really inspired by, mm-hmm. but the current me had completely forgotten about.
Right. Mm-hmm. Isn't that so true?
I do that.
I do that too. And it's like, oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
I love it when a kid will be like, oh, I love that song I did in first grade. I'm like, I forgot that existed. Mm-hmm. I did teach you that. Mm. Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Hands.
Again, I don't plan well.
You plan, though.
I do plan.
Mm-hmm.
I know this because I saw it.
Right, but I don't hold to it as I should. Mm-hmm. But I'm a techie guy. I'm into technology, so like I'll create a lesson plan template, mm-hmm. but with the goal of it being as easy to fill out as possible.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What I remember is it would be like the time elapsing would be getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and then you'd be like, okay, let's decide. And then you would decide, and then it was fine. And then the lesson would flow flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think just, in the moment you got to be able to like, if it's not working, just change it. Like,
oh, yeah.
Because
do everybody a favor.
That's my biggest, like, I have like an aha moment every time I'm teaching, and mm-hmm. I teach one class, and it just goes awesome. And I mm-hmm. feel like I do the exact same thing with the next class of the same grade level. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm the same teacher, like doing the exact same thing, like, and it just doesn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we're teaching different people every day. Like,
every hour.
Right.
Yeah.
And the classroom culture is different. Mm-hmm. And because we get to see every kid in the whole school, we see how one teacher's strategy works great with a group of kids and then not at all with another group of kids. And like, you just realize, man, okay, so with this class, it's not going to work. You know, some classes I say, you know, for this class, I just have to create some rotations, some stations, mm-hmm. and I'm working with a small group because I can't hold the attention of this entire group. I can't have us all work on something together. We won't get anything accomplished. Yeah,
so that's not gonna work.
So I've got to piece it up. So, but that's based on just the class, you know. But as far as lesson planning, I just try, you know, I try to spend some time ahead of time, mm-hmm. you know, where I have all the standards listed and I, you know, data validate it so that it's just a drop down menu. Mm-hmm. So you're not typing anything in, you're just drop down. And I've done the same thing now with conversational solfege. I have all the steps and all the activities just written down, listed. Mm-hmm. So I can say I'm going to do this step and this activity, but I'm not typing anything. With the exception of the objective and academic vocabulary.
Keep it short. I do that too.
Yeah.
The drop downs are gold.
Yeah, because then you can just be like,
see, there's that coding.
Yeah.
That coding coming in handy,
Save
Crystal.
yourself some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Why are you retyping standards every time? They don't change.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Do it once.
And try to place it so that it all fits on like 2 pages. And then, you know, so on that plan, when I print it out, I don't all the time, but when I print it out, I have just a column. Since there's 7 grade levels, you have an extra column on a page. And I use that as like a reflection on how the lesson went, you know.
Very good.
And that's just what I can write down just for, you know, for input for the next one.
So direct message Hans, ask him for that Excel spreadsheet with the drop downs if you don't know how to code.
There you go. I'll share mine too if
there's
you're
no
interested.
It's easy.
There's no right way to do it.
That's coding.
Nah.
Mine is public property, so if anybody wants it.
Yeah, if anybody wants. Yep.
I want that.
Fine.
There you go.
Yes.
chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. We'll get it to you if you want a lesson plan template.
All right.
You can have the Pridmore and Chamberlain versions.
That's right. Yeah.
Email
awesome.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even better yet, because every site's different. Like, I don't know, we should maybe just do like a how to like make a lesson plan.
That would be a
in
cool
Excel
video.
Yeah, because I think that would be really helpful.
Mine was in Word. Mine, I think it's in Word with a drop-down menu attached to it somehow.
I want to know. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's not
I
hard.
want to know how to do that stuff. That's really cool.
It's not hard. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so we're at that time where we do a Spiccato, but today we have something a little different.
It is a little different. I just wanted to share this series of books, and we're not sponsored by them yet, but Story Orchestra, if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, email us at gmail.com.
Make the checkout.
Right? I know. We're going to give you some free advertising. I love this series of books. I got this for my little boy when he turned 5. They have a few. So we have Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, and it's a really sweet story that they made up to go with it. So they're beautifully illustrated books, and then they have on the page embedded as part of the story. This one's for the Nutcracker. They have little music notes, and they say press here, and when you press them, it plays.
That's the coolest thing.
It's really cool. It plays a snippet. And it's not like some bad recording like in the noisy books when we grew up.
Hashtag Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, I know. So pretty. And then the cool thing is in the back of the story, they have all of the buttons to push, and it's the breakdown of the overall piece. So it'll say like Act 1 Overture, and then it'll give some things to listen for when you push the button again.
That's so cool.
And then it's got a short composer biography, and I just thought this was nice to share for Christmas. So it's so sweet.
So maybe for our, because I'm thinking ahead, the last week of December in school, also name that scene from
that
the
could
Nutcracker.
be fun. It could be a fun
know
play.
it that well.
You know, it's also fun to last year what I did is I gave groups one little short thing to illustrate with a dance.
That's
or
cool.
to pull out. Yeah, so there's a lot of potential with these. My Mod Severe special ed classes love these books. It holds their attention so well.
Yeah.
And it's such good exposure for them to composers too. I try to do a little composer biography.
I do feel like teaching elementary school, we're in this really special like span of development where kids are willing to dive into their imagination, and the Nutcracker is like just such a masterpiece in that. And I've used it in the past using different technology. I love that it's so beautifully illustrated and that it's tactile. So I'm looking forward to using this. I see 6th grade 3 times in 1 week during 1 week in December. So I'm like, I need that book.
It's a great book. I love to pair it with all the winter themed stuff, like singing scarf songs, or I have a stack of paper plates and we stand on them and we go ice skating to the Waltz of the Snowflakes. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
With them, and I give points for the best tricks.
That's awesome.
It's really fun.
Oh my gosh. And then
it's hilarious.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
I love the week before Christmas. I know a lot of teachers kind of dread it, but I just pull out all the fun stuff.
This year, I'm trying to just lean into all the crazy.
Lean into the crazy. You in elementary school.
Every Friday the 13th, just lean into how...
Lean into the full moon.
Cuckoo it gets. Yeah, I'm into that this year.
Lean into the Friday the 13th full moon.
Lean into that Halloween candy.
We do teach on a Thursday, which is Halloween, and then Friday.
My Ravenclaw robes are ready for school.
Nice.
Bring
That's
it
awesome.
on.
I'm going to wear my trick or treat yourself
shirt. I like
that. Oh, that's great.
So great.
So now... That was our Spiccato, guys. So I think we're rounding the corner.
Yeah.
To
peace round. Round of the week.
That's it. Thank you, Crystal.
Yes, and if you found something valuable in this week's episode, please like, subscribe, and share the episode. It means a lot to us when you share it on social media. Email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. We're serious. If you want us to share our lesson plan templates, we are happy. We are open books. to share those with you. So let us know how we can help you. Give us a shout out and tag us on social media so that other people can find us as well, because we want to find our people.
It's true.
Yeah. Don't do this job alone. All right, guys. So peace round is what I'm bringing to the table.
All right. Crystal, can you sing it for us?
What a goodly thing if the children of the world could dwell together in peace.
Let's do a 3-part.
Together or just right into the round?
Oh, no. Let's do unison and then 3-part.
Got it.
Okay.
Sounds good. 1, 2, 3.
Sure. Okay.
What a goodly thing if the children of the world could dwell together in peace. What a goodly thing if the children of the world if the children of the world could dwell together in peace. Triangle, ding. Very nice. This is very orphifiable too. Just add something really simple on the bottom. It's lovely.
I love that.
And it sounds amazing when you get like 40 kids singing it in a round. And they latch onto it so quickly. So.
It's nice to have a pleasing sound that's in minor too. That's just like a good haunting. I like it.
I got a bunch of those battery operated tea lights last year, and we held them while we sang this for our winter concert. And it was really powerful. We just had a visit from a Holocaust survivor who shared her story. And so they shared about their experience with her and then sang the peace round afterwards. It was beautiful. Yeah. And thanks for listening, you guys. We do important work. And so thank you for sharing in this experiment of ours, for just laughing with us and sharing in the joys and the struggles and the triumphs of teaching in the elementary classroom. Know that we see you. We get it. And we appreciate you. Hands, where can people find you?
At CPE Music on Twitter.
Right.
Nice. I'm at Ms. Kumagai.
And I'm at Mrs. Pridmore. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Bye.
The Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore, Jonathan Seligman, Zoe Kumagai, and Marc Keehmer. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at @CHClassroom, Instagram at Chaotic Harmony Classroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Bryan Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com.